Hello and welcome back to my daily speed modeling challenge, where today I am breaking down this render I made of this Hornet character, Hornet. As always, leave a comment for me if you have another challenge. Other than that, my time starts now. So just a heads up, I've never played Hollow Knight, but I saw this character in like a thumbnail of a YouTube video, and I thought, wow, that's a lot of really simple shapes to break down. So I think it's doable in 30 minutes. I looked up some reference, and there's a lot of really horny character art of her, but we're just gonna go with this general like vibe. So I think we can begin with the head, where the way I'm going to do this is I'll use a plane, merge everything at the center. We can go into front view, add a skin modifier, add a mirror modifier, but we'll do this before the skin modifier. And then from this, we can just sort of make the shape of the head, where it goes out like that and like that. And now we have to change the thickness of some of these verts. So we can make this one very thick, this one similar, and this one make it thin. Oh, and then we also want a subsurf modifier on this. Forgot to mention that. There we go. So that's pretty good. Not the right profile, but it's a good start. So here's like a front view. Think we need to move this up a bit, make it longer. We can also make it more curved just by giving it some subtle loop cuts and some more geometry. Also think that it's got a little bit of like warbling almost going on. Like you can see the seams. You can almost see the vertices. Maybe adding another subsurf will help with that. It's pretty good, but not perfect. Make some very subtle adjustments. And I think I'm actually pretty happy with that. Yeah, we'll go with this. Although even this, it's like much wider, much longer. So proportional editing, and why don't we just grab and stretch? And then what we'll do is apply these modifiers. And now that we have it as geometry, I actually want to take it and make some manual adjustments. So it looks like it was sort of like long like this. And then up here, grab there. This needs to be like thinner. We'll do individual origins. Maybe grab a bit more geometry, maybe some less geometry. And I think that'll be a good start for our blockout. Okay, now we'll use this. And actually I want to add a subdivision, just one. And actually I want to move this up just a bit. I think that's good. Yeah. The issue is there's some obvious like little sort of lumpiness going on, but we don't have the time to make all these manual adjustments. So I'll add a cube, and this is going to be her body, or her like dress, I guess. So we'll add in a subsurf and then make it, I don't know, 3 layers in the viewport, sure. And then I want to get rid of these top 2 faces, and then we'll just use a solidify modifier to make the actual like geometry thickness itself. So generate and solidify. We'll do this before the subsurf, and we'll say like that. Okay, so front view. All right, so we'll start off by scaling this down. Turn proportional editing off. So there's like a collar, and 0.5 is too thick. Maybe we'll go 0.2. Sure. So we start with like a flat collar like that, and then the general shape is like just like flared out like that, and it looks like this has a bit more sharpness to it like that, and that's a pretty good start. But now there are a bunch of there are a bunch of just little like ruffles all around, and I probably should have done this whenever it was still a cube, but whatever. Live and learn. Oh, and that was actually inefficient. There we go. And if you didn't know this, if you loop cut, which is Control R, you can use your scroll wheel to influence the number of loops. Okay, there we go. And then I think actually we can take all of these, and what is it, 2 sphere, and that should make it a nice circle shape. It makes it a little bit uneven around like the corners, but it's fine. Sphere, crank it, sphere, crank it, 2 sphere, crank it. Okay, so now it's circular again, but now we need to make the ruffles, which we'll do by just grabbing like every other one. And this might be wrong, but we'll start with this approach. And sure, we can leave a couple, uneven. Oh, that's what happened. Like that. And then scale it down. Oh, we're still on individual origins. Median point. Scale it down like that. And then we can rotate it around the Z to create some, sharpness within the edges. And that looks to be too sharp to my eyes. Maybe we'll turn X-ray off. Yeah, that's a bit too sharp, so maybe we can loosen it up a bit. And okay, this looks pretty good to me. Both of these object shade smooth, and maybe even if we do this, now that it's shaded smooth, it'll look even better when we do a little bit of that. And then I also want to make it just bigger now. Okay, perfect. Now I want to also grab these, and we'll make it random, and we'll just sort of nudge the vertices around a bit. And just this sort of subtle randomness usually goes a long way with making a character look more real. Okay, so that's good with that. Now I'll add in the legs, and we'll do that with another plane. Tab M, center, 1, add modifier, generate skin modifier, subsurf. This is a very standard setup that I've done a lot by now. So I'll position it about there, and then why don't we mirror it? Add modifier, mirror across head. Okay, and then now we can extrude down, and her legs are fairly long. Do like that, and then add 1 loop cut, and then make it smooth, and we can just sharpen that out. Actually, you know what? Why don't we apply this mirror modifier so that we can just position this just as vertices, or we can do like one of her legs sort of curving out this way, and the other one sort of subtly going the other way. And then I want to add some more movement to this dress, actually. So why don't I turn proportional editing on, and we can sort of just like nudge a bunch of it this way. I move this one around, because the reality is it would be tighter bunches on this side. No, we'll just undo all that. Okay, whatever, this is fine for now. Maybe another subdivision. Yeah, probably 2 is good. And shade smooth, object, shade smooth. You know what, it's not gonna shade smooth in the viewport. I don't care. So we'll do it like that. And then I also want to make sure that her legs go up into her dress enough, just in case I move the camera to a weird angle, but that looks good. Next thing is we'll do the eyes. So I'll add in UV spheres, put it up along the Z, on the X, and we'll throw on a mirror modifier against the head. Now we can rotate these along the X by like 90, scale it along the X, rotate on the Y. You can scale it down as well. And just make sure these eyes are positioned properly. That's too big. So it looks like she has fairly small eyes, relatively speaking, but otherwise I'm relatively happy with that. We can set that to the parent so that we can rotate this. It looks like it's rotated back a bit almost. That's too far. Like a subtle rotation that way, subtle rotation this way, and then position these in edit mode now. Yeah, that's worse. And maybe they're bulging out a bit too much. Make them flatter, turn it out more like that. Okay, I'm happy with that now. So that's sort of the base. That's pretty much it, actually. But we need to add materials, and also maybe we want to make her sword really quickly. So let's do like a plane. Console this for a second. And then it's like what? On the X. It's like long, merge. No, we'll add the loop cut down the center. GZ, got some sharpness there. Make that a face. Control R. There we go. So that's fine. And then we'll just extrude out a face. Or no, we won't. We'll just merge that at the center. And then the hilt looks like it just is an extruded face, scaled down like that. And then it's extruded down the Y, and then I'll add in just like a torus, and then just scale this down a lot and do it like that. Set the parent to that so we can do that. Perfect. Okay, we'll unsolo this and we'll give it to her. Where is it? It looks like we rotate this around the Z, move it this way. Looks like I'm supposed to be imagining, I guess, a hand sort of here. Rotate it like this. Maybe it needs to be even longer, actually. I didn't get the handle length correct. Yeah, so actually the handle needs to be longer. So just move that along the local Y, maybe move this down a bit, scale this back down, make it more toroidal again. Just replace it on the end there. Okay, so this looks better. So we'll do like that. And then the final touch is going to be her string, which will add in whatever we can do. No, plane, merge, center, move this to like over here, extrude. Nope. This to be about at the handle. Oh shoot. What happened there? Whatever. Okay. Restarting. Merge at center. Now we can just extrude, 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 extrude. Now, proportional editing, connected only. Then as we increase the radius, it'll grab more and more of the string. And I'm sure you can already see where I'm going with this, but what we can do is just refine the shape a little bit and add in a skin modifier. Control A, make them all nice and thin. Add in subsurf. And then I also want to add in a subsurf before the skin to make it smoother. And we want like, honestly, we want like 3 to 4 subdivisions on this, but that's fine. Even thinner. It looks like there's some more flourishes to this. So it should be more down, but now it's not round enough. So like that looks good to me. Okay, 10 minutes left for materials. I'm going to do very basic materials for this. So, okay, shading. She's a flat white right now, but we can even do this and say, start with an area light like this and make it like 500 strength, make it bigger, move further back and give it more power to make the lighting nice and soft from the front. And then I'll add in some sharper lighting from the side, but I want to make the strength less, maybe 250. And I want to make this like have a blue tint to it, sort of a blue purplish. Why don't we also pose our camera right now? Options or N, view, camera to view, and that looks good to me. Or no, maybe I'm gonna pose a bit more like that. And her pose is a little flat in my opinion, but you know, can't win everything in these 30-minute challenges. So I'll settle for that. So back to shading in rendered view. Okay, let's begin. So we have that blue. So I want to make these legs sort of a matte black. I want to make the dress a nice sort of a crimson, almost dark pink is how I would describe it, but that feels wrong. And then it's rough, give it like a satiny kind of finish, and that looks good to me. Now the string will be an emission shader, and we want to give it just the slightest blue tint, I think is what it looks like to me. The strength of like 10, because we'll turn bloom on. Ta-da! How's that for visual interest? Now this is just metallic with low roughness. The eyes should be black but shiny. And I mean, yeah, that's pretty much, wait, I'm gonna rotate it on the local Y like this. So it looks like it's been like threaded almost. That And we can refine the shape of this a little bit, move it down, move it up. I want to make this wider, maybe a little less rough. Okay, so we have 6 minutes left. How can we refine our scene? Well, number one, we can add a background. So we'll use a plane and we'll make her stand on it, make it big, move it over. Perfect. Now we can extrude that up, bevel this with like 2, 4, sure, whatever. Now we can say, what is it? Object, shade smooth. And that's good enough for our purposes. Let's see how it looks. Okay, what color would be a nice background color for her? I'm thinking something complementary to the red. So what's opposite our red? Like greenish. But what shade of green? Dark green is good. And it also bounces off the blue nicely. But how might we improve this? So it's a dark red. So maybe we have it like maybe like a limey kind of green. No, that looks bad to my eyes. I think a nice dark green is good. And there's enough visual interest from this, and I'm not happy with this actually. Can I turn the roughness all the way down? I also need to apply, that's 04, material 004. Maybe if we make this reflective, so we can turn on settings, or where is it? Bang, screen space reflections. Yeah, so now it's reflecting the light of the needle. That looks good. SZZ, get it to reflect even more light. No, SYY, SX, SXX, make it flatter maybe. Okay, so it's reflecting some of that light. So are the eyes. I'm thinking maybe I could add, let's look at this art, or maybe let's look at her in game. So she's doing like that. Maybe some like firefly particles. That could be cool. Yeah. All right, let's add that. Maybe we'll have them emit from this, and we'll just say new particle system. And where is it? Sure, it should be at the bottom. Yes, the number, or let's just run it. Oh, it looks like it is not applying from that. So why don't we apply these modifiers? Apply, and apply. And the shape is fine. But particle system, okay. So that actually looks like the right amount. Maybe the lifetime needs to be shorter, like 10 with some randomness. And then I will add in some velocity from the normal at like 2 maybe. Maybe at like 3, maybe at like 4. We'll say layout, back. Okay, that looks good. And then I'll add in a UV sphere all the way over here, shading, and I'll make it have that emission shader. Or actually, I'll even actually copy it. I want to see if I can get these really blue. Oh, UV sphere, make it super blue. Yeah, that's fine. And I'll have the particle system, render as, object, instance object, sphere, scale, bigger, smaller. And that's too blue. That's too blue like that. But I do want there to be some color like that. Make the color a bit more subtle maybe. And then maybe I'll make this light a bit brighter. Maybe 1000 is appropriate. I think that actually is appropriate. Maybe not. Maybe back to 750 is better. 800. Yeah, I'll call it 800. Call it a day. So we have it like that. And I actually want to maybe connect it only. Maybe I want to grab this and pull it off screen, and I'll give it some roundness to the pull. I wish I had left the modifiers on, or if there had been some way to do that, because I'm not liking how lumpy this looks right now. That fixes it a bit. That's a bit better. Okay, so I want this frame right here. Particle system, bake, calculate to frame. Where's our cache? Cache. Calculate to frame, render, image. Now we'll just see what it looks like with the samples turned up. Probably I'll have to tune in the roughness of this, but okay, that looks pretty good. What time do we have? Looks like we're out of time, but I'm actually pretty happy with how this turned out. This is a nice reflective surface, so are the eyes. I think it's obvious who the character is. The materials are obviously very flat, but you know, for a 30-minute speed challenge, I think it really captured this, not this image, this is very dynamic. Sort of this, although even this has there's more motion to it. Like there's a very obvious, I think, gesture to this image, and then there's more movement in her dress. This is very static, but you know, for 30 minutes, I think I did pretty good. I would change some things. I think the pose for sure is the thing I would change, but I think I'm happy with the thread, with the little particles. So I guess I'll call it there. As always, leave a comment if you have another challenge for me, but otherwise, thank you for watching.